How much TikTok is too much TikTok? Is it enough to make your brain pop? That's a question that we are going to answer today. G'day there guys, it's your main man Markee and welcome back to another episode of r/AmITheA, where we're going to play copyrighted music to stop people from playing TikToks. Now if you love today's bloody good content, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn to the barbie, and get ready for some interesting stories. Am I the asshole for blasting copyrighted music anytime somebody tries to TikTok or make a video on the bus or train that I'm on to get them strikes? So I've done this at least 6 or 7 times, but the most recent time made me curious. So, some girl a few days ago on a bus that I ride regularly had her friend take her phone and started recording for TikTok. And I quickly started playing Disney music and then asked them to stop because I don't care for being recorded. She lost her crap, yelled at me, called me an asshole, and told me to turn the music off. Even tried to get me kicked off the bus when I refused. I turned it back on every time they tried to record, purely to make sure they could get copyright strikes if they tried to upload. So here's the question. Am I the asshole? Edit. Yes, I was in shot. They were filming from the front of the bus, and I usually sit at the back. I should have noted this. Edit 2. Several other people on the bus were annoyed at the 2 girls running up and down the aisles with their filming. I wasn't the only one. Edit 3. I don't have this music on my phone. I jumped to YouTube and played a video. I'm not sure why I needed to clarify this though. And Edit 4. I did ask them nicely a single time to stop, or at the very least record with me behind the girl with the camera, and I was ignored. Disney music copyrights go brrrr. This is honestly a genius way to stop the conquest of TikTokers taking over the world. Though this is like really dangerous, isn't it? Because if you want to silence anything that was being recorded in public, you just go and play Disney music and use that as a weapon. So in that sense, it can be an asshole-ish thing to do in many circumstances. But in this situation in particular, I'm going to say no. You asked them to stop, you even tried to negotiate and find a way that you're not in the videos. They didn't listen to you. They didn't care. They got what was coming to them with you playing Disney music. Modern times really do require modern solutions. You found one, you one-upped them, and they weren't able to stop it. They even tried to get you kicked off the bus. Now that's not very inclusive of them, is it? I'm gonna go with not the asshole for this one, OP. Now in the comments, Dusty Pink Sun says, maybe you are, but people who start recording on public transportation deserve what they get. Thanks for the idea, I hadn't thought of it. It's quite effective. Protesters use it against their opponents these days, so they can't upload their speeches and share it. Then the police learned about it and started using it against protesters. And then Taylor Swift threatened to sue those same police officers. Good old times with copyright infringement. Not the asshole. People can TikTok all the livelong day, but they need to be mindful of other people's rights not to be involved. As if they cared. That's also the scary part. We're all most likely in one TikTok per day without even knowing it. Me looks at the empty house I hardly leave these days. Oh god, I hope not. Not the asshole. I figure if TV shows need your permission to use your image, it's not unrealistic to want the same consent for other forms of monetized media. Regardless, their reaction was immature and melodramatic, likely due to embarrassment at being called out for doing something they know is rude and internally hoped no one would object to. People just make themselves look so much worse reacting like this instead of just saying, "Sorry, got caught up in the moment, but thank you for the reminder that my actions in public do affect others." Our next post is by user Fat Frickin' Phoenix, titled, Am I the asshole for not allowing my employees to keep tampons and pads in our bathroom at work? For a little background, I manage a retail store for a relatively smallish company, 70 or so locations. I currently have 2 female employees on my staff in their early/mid-20s. I am a male in my early 30s. Yesterday, I found a box of tampons in the bathroom at our store. Our store only has one bathroom, so by default, it is our customer accessible bathroom. Some of our stores, just by nature of whatever the building was used for before we bought them, have employee bathrooms and customer bathrooms. But ours only has one single person bathroom that is on the sales floor. One of my female employees had left them in the bathroom. I informed her that while there is absolutely nothing wrong with keeping feminine hygiene products at the store, they would need to be kept in the office and could not be kept in the bathroom. She said she thought that was sexist. I told her that it has nothing to do with the fact that it's a feminine hygiene product because it is a personal use product, which we don't want to have kept in a bathroom available to our customers, and that if a male or female employee wanted to keep a razor, toothbrush, deodorant, etc. in the bathroom, then it would be prohibited as well. She said that's not the same thing, as those are all personal use products that everyone uses, not just women. My other female employee understands this policy and doesn't see anything wrong with it. The male employees aren't really relevant to the situation, but I would wager that they agree, though I haven't discussed it with them because, again, doesn't seem relevant. The upset female employee, however, finds it to be sexist and wants to discuss it with HR, which I told them I would be more than happy to facilitate a conversation with concerning this. While this is not a documented company policy, I feel as though it's common sense to not keep personal hygiene products in a place that customers will be and that HR will agree. I've always had a reputation as being one of the better general managers in our company, especially in terms of low turnover and high employee morale. I don't want my employee to feel as though she's being discriminated against because she's a wonderful person and a great employee. But I just don't see how this is sexist. I can see her point that men don't really have an equivalent male-exclusive item, but I don't see how that changes anything in this specific instance. Am I missing something? Edit. I'm considering all the feedback, but I just wanted to clarify a couple points relevant to a lot of the responses. 1. This is not a female bathroom, it is a single toilet unisex bathroom. It's the size of a closet and has a toilet and sink. 2. This is not my business. So installing a tampon and pad dispensers, which I'd 1000% support, is not remotely my decision. 3. My employee did not intend the tampons for use by customers or other employees, and I asked. 4. I'm not objecting to the tampons because I don't understand how periods work, or I'm grossed out by them, but because it could really cause problems if an auditor comes in and sees what they will see as a personal use product left in a public area. Second edit, just a couple more clarifying points in response to some common questions or not really correct assumptions. This has been a pretty split decision so far. 1. It is a very small store and a very small bathroom. There is no cabinet under the sink or space for a cabinet that could be locked. The only places to put anything really is on the floor, on the sink itself, or on top of the toilet. A wall-mounted dispenser or very thin cabinet may work, but I'm not permitted to make changes like that to the facilities. I will bring up the option with HR. 2. The office is roughly 10 steps from the bathroom at most. They're right next to each other. 3. We've usually 1 or 2 employees on shift at a time. If there is 1 employee, they are encouraged to place a pre-made bathroom sign on the store's door and lock the door. No questions asked. 4. I will readily admit my examples were not a good comparison and not well thought out. And 5. To the people saying I'm an immature misogynist, insecure in my own masculinity who's grossed out by menstruation and tampons, you're entitled to your own opinion. But I'm just not. I've always been perfectly comfortable with my significant others and female roommates keeping whatever they need wherever they need it, picking up tampons from the store for them, and would have not thought twice about this if we had an employee bathroom. I will update this post after our conversation with HR, which has already been scheduled for tomorrow. Okay, wow. The usual logic of all of these edits on a post usually means it's you're the asshole and they're just digging themselves a deeper hole. But this is one of those exceptions where I'm like, wow, you really explained this situation in so much detail that there isn't really an argument that I can see against you anymore. It's a tiny bathroom, you're not allowed to install anything in it, and it's 10 steps away from her desk. If you're going to get in trouble for keeping personal products in there and it's an absolute rule that you can get audited and in trouble for, I feel like she can go to the effort of keeping her personal items with her 10 steps away from the bathroom door. This seems like a really weird hill for her to die on, and everyone else attacking you for being sexist, I'm guessing didn't see the edits, all of these edits that you've made to the post. I'm gonna go with not the asshole for this one. Now in the comments, he likes her says, not the asshole. She can't leave personal belongings in the bathroom. You're the asshole. I already knew this by the first paragraph. No uterus, no opinion. A quick suggestion for the employee. She can keep the box of tampons underneath her register, out of sight, so she can grab one when she needs it and put it in her pocket. Not the asshole. Your logic seems very reasonable, and keeping them in the office seems like a good compromise. Honestly, it seems like the people calling you sexist didn't read past the title. I personally wouldn't want to keep mine in the toilets accessible to the customers for fear they wouldn't be there when I needed them. If it was a staff toilet, it would be a different story, but that's personal choice. No personal use items kept in the toilets means that. I'm not sure why this employee is getting so worked up about it. It's not sexist. I have the space in my work toilets, but still keep them in my desk drawer. I don't want people cut short with dirty hands rummaging around in the tampon box. Unexposed is by user No Individual 2354. Titled, Would I be the asshole if I don't tell my best friend's dying mother that my son is actually her grandson? Title is a little bit of a doozy. I'll do my best to explain. Ages are current to now. I, 37 male, am 100% sterile due to a childhood accident. My wife, 35 female, and I considered our options when starting a family and agreed a sperm donor situation would be the most affordable and accessible option available to us. After looking into more traditional methods, we both concluded that an anonymous nut in a cup was a little weird and impersonal for us both. After a lot of irrelevant interlude, my best friend John, 39 male, agreed to be the donor. This was years ago, and my wife and I now have a son, Abram. Changed obviously, 7 male, from this arrangement. We've also adopted a second child, Lily, 4 female. John is also a part of both of my children's lives, and we are all very close, but they have no clue that he is Abram's bio dad, and neither really does anyone else. A few close relatives know he isn't biologically mine, but only because they know I'm sterile. Even our friends don't really know. It just isn't relevant, and we are private people. John is single and has been pretty much his whole life. He's financially and career motivated and just hasn't ever settled down and doesn't really plan to now. With Abram, he has a biochild and he can interact with him, but no responsibility at all. It works and hasn't been an issue until now. Although he has a brother, 45 male, his brother definitely will never have children. His mother, who's in her late 60s, has always sort of wanted grandkids, I guess, but never made much of a fuss. But she recently found she has terminal cancer and only a year or so to live, and has now been saying her biggest regret is never getting to be a grandmother, etc. John has come to my wife and I and asked us to let Abram know that he is his biological father so that he can let his mother have a grandmother/grandchild relationship. Neither my wife nor I want to rock the boat in any of the ways that entails, and have told him as much. But now he's saying after all he's done, all he's asking for is to let his son know his family, and that he's always assumed that we'd someday tell everyone. This is something we adamantly were not interested in doing, so I'm assuming this is all from him being shocked and upset about his mother, but I put my foot down and told him a solid no. Now he's saying I'm an asshole, and I'll be crushing his mother's dreams if I don't let him tell Abram. Will I be the asshole if I don't relent? Edits. I've not had much time to read and process the responses, much less reply myself, but to clarify. Lily does know she's adopted. Our ethnicities are different, etc. Our main reason to not tell Abram has had nothing to do with him, and I'm sure we were always going to let him know eventually. Especially that he isn't biologically related to me. But we haven't wanted to complicate his relationship with John or give him a reason to be bullied, etc. Mostly the latter, with our main fear being that kids would assume affair or something like that due to the community that we live in, which is reasonably conservative and very nosy. Oh my god, when he said that line, there's just like a massive pit that opened up in my stomach. I'm like, oh my god, I really hope I never have to be in a situation like this in my life. Like, what do you say? What do you say? You either destroy your friendship and relationship with this guy, or you just massively screw up your child who it's just like, by the way, I'm not your dad. Here's your dad. He's going through a really emotional and tough time right now because his mum's dying. Also, here's your grandmother. She's dying. You're 7 years old. Good luck. I don't know, OP. What's the lesser of two evils in this situation? Because this, to me, seems like it is absolutely not the way to say that, hey, look, your family's kind of a lie here. Your dad's been here the whole time, but surely you're young enough now to process all of this in a reasonable way. No way. That I couldn't do this. I could not do that. But considering all of that, I'm saying not the asshole for OP. Now in the comments, Scrapple Sandwiches says, "You're the asshole." I mean, this is why people pay for the anonymous and impersonal nut in a cup. You wanted the personal nut in a cup, and your son should know eventually, if only for medical history reasons. Imagine he finds out 11 years from now. His resentment at not being told the truth his whole life, and not getting to know his grandmother even though he could have, or if John decides this is a bad deal for him and sues for paternity rights. Or John decides to let the cat out of the bag before you tell your son. God, that makes me cringe even more inside. Unless he's willing to contact every single one-night stand to determine if a child resulted in those unions, he has no claim over this child whatsoever. And for that matter, all masturbatory emissions where his sperm was clearly not seeking an egg could be termed reckless abandonment. I'm sorry, I haven't watched Legally Blonde in a long time, but 2 comments here go, Ellie Woods? Lol, and haha. The joke is lost on me, but if you guys get it, you're welcome to comment it down below. Not the arsehole. How does John not realize that he's using Abram as a potential emotional support animal for his mom? Also, does he not realize that by claiming Abram as his biological son/grandson of his mother, that is going to cause lasting consequences where he needs to step up? Like, John can't pull a "you are her grandson but not my son" card. For frick's sake, John isn't even thinking about the potential trauma this kid will have to go through, where he's being thrust as a miracle child towards a grandmother he didn't know existed, who is going to die soon, and an absentee biological father who only wants to play fun uncle. That is way too much pressure to put on a 7-year-old child. The reality is, biological or not, John isn't his father, nor is his mother his grandmother. His parents are the ones who raised and took care of him, and his grandparents are the parents of his parents. And they are entitled to tell him of where he came from on their own time when it is in Abram's best interests, not from when it is in the best interest of John. And edit, another point, for those who say that John is still the biological father, and therefore his dad, even though he never paid child support or was a dad role in his life, what about his mum? You know, his biological mother who raised him, took care of him, sent him off to school. Why should John, who was never there, because he's not his dad, get more say than his mother? I couldn't have said it any better. OP absolutely not the asshole. It is clear that not anonymous donors do have some consequences, like the top comment says, but this is extremely unhealthy for the poor kid. Although I do think Abram should eventually know about his biological dad, I don't understand how anyone could ever call OP an asshole in this particular situation. You should tell a kid slowly and reassuringly that his dad is not a biological father, and then cautiously introduce John in a new way. Not dump a kid straight into a situation with a dying, not so much only biological, grandma. It would be so harmful for the poor kid. Unexposed is by user Personal Divide 3156, titled, "Am I the asshole for refusing to go to a concert with my wife after she called the lead singer her dream man?" My wife is a big fan of rock music. About a month ago, she started going on about one of her favorite bands and how cute and talented the lead singer is. Of course, that is no problem, and I'm not jealous of a random celebrity. However, she then proceeded to tell me this lead singer is her exact type and her dream man. She even said at one point, and I quote, "If only he wasn't married," but tried to make it sound like a joke. For context, this man literally could not be more different from me. I'm on the bigger side, mixed race, short hair, and the musician is a skinny white dude with long hair. I know she didn't mean it to be hurtful towards me, but it kinda stung to hear straight up that I am so different from her dream type appearance-wise, and her comments brought up some insecurities that I thought I had gotten over. It wasn't a big deal, so I didn't let her know this upset me at the time, and I moved on from it. It turns out the band is coming to our city in a few weeks. My wife originally wasn't able to get tickets since they are so expensive. But this morning, she texted me that her coworker bought tickets but can't make it, and is willing to resell the tickets to my wife for a much lower price. She called me to confirm that I would go with her, and she should go ahead and get the tickets. I took a minute, but said, "Honestly, I'd rather not accompany you to a concert where you're just going to be fawning over your dream man the whole time." She seemed totally shocked by this and responded, "Why are you making this about you?" So we talked it out a bit, but I didn't back down, and I told her that I'm not interested in going. She can of course take a friend or someone else, but I simply don't feel like going with her. This upset her a lot more than I thought it would, and she came home from work nearly in tears, asking why I'm being petty and selfish by not going with her. She said the singer is just a dumb celebrity crush that she was rambling about, and it makes no sense for me to be taking it personally and making this an issue between us. I told her I'm not mad at her for trying to start drama, I just would prefer not to accompany her to this particular show. We haven't talked since last night, and I don't really feel like apologizing. Am I the asshole for not budging on this? And edit for everyone asking, the band is Tame Impala. I guess I could have specified that to begin with. In all honesty, if you don't want to go to the show, it's fair. You don't have to go to watch Tame Impala if you don't want to. And even though this is the reason, I feel like that's a valid reason. That's not just a shallow reason not to want to go to watch them. I absolutely bet, if you made a big deal about going to see a female artist who was the exact opposite of your wife and you said, "God, if only she was single, I would put so many babies in her. She's the woman of my dreams. Come on, wife, let's go watch that show together. I really want to see the dream woman of my dreams." I'm willing to bet she'd feel insecure about that and wouldn't be happy going because you've made such a show of that woman being so high on a pedestal that your wife could never achieve. That's enough to make anyone hurt on the inside. I feel like you could talk this one out with your wife and come to a reasonable solution. It's not out of the question, and it's not unreasonable for you not to go. She can take another friend, that's normal. I'm gonna go with not the asshole for this one. Now in the comments, I Dream in Words says, "I'm actually super surprised with all of the you're the assholes here. It's not like you were preventing her from going to the concert. You just don't want to go with her. I can understand how it may be a bit hurtful to hear your wife constantly go on about wishing she was with someone else. It doesn't matter if it's a complete fantasy, that would never happen. Saying someone the exact opposite of you is her exact type sounds harsh. Maybe she didn't mean it that way. But I don't think it's unreasonable for you to be hurt. Let her find a friend to go with her. Not the asshole." There's a difference between celebrity crush and saying crap like dream man, and if only he wasn't married. My partner has his celeb crushes, but he doesn't gush over it. He knows about my insecurities, and it doesn't benefit him to openly fawn over how hot he finds some stranger to me. Most women don't want to hear about how their husband or boyfriend finds some other chick. Especially if she's got a big ass or chest, and said girlfriend/wife is flatter in those areas. I feel like there's a double standard there. In my opinion, unless you both like sharing about that sort of stuff, leave that talk with your friends or in some online forum. Your husband doesn't want to hear how wet you get over some other dude. Then expect him to go with you to a concert so you can scream and fawn over this punk. Not the asshole. No assholes here. Your feelings are valid, but you're not being malicious. But you should have told her that she was making you uncomfortable right then. She's blindsided and upset now because your legitimate feelings appear to come out of nowhere over what is literally a silly celebrity crush and something she's stoked about and wants to share with you. It's a pretty unfortunate predicament. You were getting called the asshole because you're a man, and Reddit loves empowered women talking about their sexuality. Take away the stupid ideological crap that taints almost every decision on this sub, and it's pretty clear you're not the asshole. Your wife made some very insensitive comments. If it had been you calling a female musician your dream girl and crushing over her in front of your wife, and then you got upset that your wife wouldn't come with you to see her perform, everyone on this site would say you're the asshole for being so thoughtless and insensitive. Especially if your wife was black and your dream girl was white, because Reddit loves calling things racist. Because you're a man, Reddit thinks you were supposed to tough it out though. And your feelings aren't as valid as a woman, so you get called the asshole. I know that last comment wasn't necessary, but I see a lot of people saying things like that in the comments. I just thought that I'd put it out there. Anyway guys, I think that's where I'm going to end today's video. If you did like it, tell me what you thought about it down in the comments below, and make sure to just interact with everyone in this community. I love each and every one of you that I get to see on a daily basis. And don't forget, if you are a Patreon subscriber, I love you. You're on the screen right now with the YouTube members as well. If you see yourself, give yourself a pat in the back. You guys help me continue this YouTube journey. You keep me going. I see you guys everywhere. I see your messages, and thank you so much for supporting me. I really love every single one of you. But with that all said, I'm going to be signing off now, guys. I hope you have a good day, night, sleep, whatever you're up to, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.